In this ever-changing global environment, there is always a need for continuous development, additional opportunities, and a better educated workforce. This can be difficult in these times as countries across the globe face enormous financial challenges, and in small island developing states like Dominica, resources are scarce. Despite these odds, however, the Roosevelt Skerrit-led administration continues to initiate strategic approaches to work with the times and at the same time develop the lives of its nationals. The impact of these approaches can be seen across the country, from the construction of bridges and rehabilitation of roads, the building of homes for needy families, the construction of sea defenses to protect communities from storm surges, and the increased access to education through the Universal Secondary Education Program. During the next few minutes, we'll take a look at how this approach by government has impacted on the general development of the northern town of Portsmouth. Portsmouth is the second largest town in Dominica with over 3,000 inhabitants. It lies on the Indian River in the north of the island. The Cabrits National Park is located on a peninsula to the north of the town. The Ross University School of Medicine, part of DeVry University, which has over 1,000 students, mainly from the United States and Canada, is also located in Portsmouth. Its presence is a major economic resource for the local people. During the past few years, major developments have been taking place within the constituency, a Dominica Labour Party stronghold for decades.
I think that the government have shown the constituency that for all the years, the 50 plus years of Labour support, that we have really come through for the constituency in terms of infrastructural development.
Within the Portsmouth constituency, the current administration has embarked on a major program of road development.
Numerous governments have really neglected the constituency, particularly here in Granville as we stand, because there have been a number of roads that have been cut for the better part of 20 years that have been never resurfaced. And so even here where we stand right now, you see a number of infrastructural works going on where we are actually on a program to resurface all the secondary roads throughout Glanville.
Residents of the northern town have also benefited significantly from government's Housing Revolution program. A program, though widely criticized by the opposition, has transformed the lives of thousands of nationals. The date April 9, 2009 will never be forgotten for 12 families in Chance, Portsmouth, who were presented with keys to brand new homes.
When I was sitting one day, I didn't expect I see Mr. Ian Douglas and the Prime Minister reach at my home. They watch the house, they pass around, and they tell me you have to continue, finish mash up the house because it's not good at all. Anyway, I mash it up and we put it in the little shop. Which of course they said they will help me to build a home. But good things come to those who wait.
Parliamentary representative for the Portsmouth constituency, Honorable Ian Douglas, explained the rationale for the provision of homes to the selected families.
We know the deplorable conditions that they lived in, and we know for a fact it was realistic and it's a reality that they could not provide for themselves. The government had a duty, both legally and morally, to step in to alleviate the plight of those persons.
Despite its obvious impact on the lives of nationals, there has been criticisms from the opposition of government's attempts to shelter the needy and less fortunate who have lived with their families for years in deplorable conditions.
They say we're giving handouts, but whatever word they want to call it, as long as the people of Dominica are benefiting, that's the most important thing for us and for the people of Dominica. So they can go to handouts if they want, they can go to freeness if they want, but whatever it is, 44 people in Portsmouth are sleeping better tonight because of the Dominica Labour Party being in government.
The government of Venezuela provided the much-needed funds for the Chance Housing Program.
Housing revolution in Dominica is more than building housing. Housing revolution in Dominica is more than the prepared houses. is more than assisting most of the unfortunate brothers and sisters in the different communities. Housing revolution in Dominica is a new model of life.
You see what happened? I had a 16 by 12, and that is a house I bought from Timbers when I used to work there in the 80s.
Our other house, it had wood and it had hole. It had a hole in it. But even though we wasn't wetting, but it had a hole in it and
it wasn't comfortable.
It wasn't comfortable.
Pal rep come to me and tell me then, you know, we're supposed to break the house and then they'll make a new one for us.
Because I myself was renting, and now I can probably say that I thank God for the builder, the building house, and the Prime Minister that work hard to make money for us.
The Roosevelt Skerritt administration has placed significant emphasis on the education of the island's youth. This has been demonstrated in so many ways. Among them, the increased access to secondary education through the Universal Secondary Education Program, the improvements to school buildings, and the construction of new ones. In the Portsmouth constituency, for example, students of the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School moved into a brand new state-of-the-art facility late April 2009. The $6.85 million building was officially opened on Monday, April 20th. It was a project jointly funded by the government of Dominica and the Regional Council of Martinique.
Monsieur Marie-Jacques, au nom de notre ancien Premier ministre Rosie Douglas et au nom de tous les élèves dominicains, les citoyens de la Dominique acceptant ces cadeaux très importants. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
The construction of the new facility was necessary following the irreparable damage to the former school building during the November 2004 earthquake.
Teacher and child will feel a sense of ownership of his or her own class. Students' learning materials and their own work will now be displayed for all to see and use, and we expect that a new zeal for learning will develop.
The Portsmouth Government School was renamed in July 2007 in honor of former Prime Minister and a Member of Parliament for Portsmouth Roosevelt Douglas.
Rosie would have derived great satisfaction indeed from seeing an aspect of his vision for our beloved country become a reality. Deeper and broader cooperation between ourselves and our French island neighbors impressively manifesting itself in a field of human endeavor close to his heart, educational advancement.
It was this great bond of friendship which the former leader pursued, and the kind-heartedness of the French which moved them to consent to make such a significant contribution to the education of Dominica's children.
Petit pays pour nous, qui nous lègue, qui nous parlait, force-nous, c'est dans l'éducation, c'est dans l'école, c'est dans la formation professionnelle, et c'est pour ça.
That transformation is another key component of continued efforts by the Roosevelt Skerritt administration to develop the island's human resource.
Those who will pass through the portals of this first-class Rosie Douglas Primary School must therefore see this as a signal of the value that your government places on the education of its citizens. This magnificent structure presents an ideal environment for the nurturing of the young minds that will have the responsibility of leading our nation's development in the decades ahead.
There is a general sense of excitement within the staff and student population at the Roosevelt Douglas Primary.
Every teacher right now has his own classroom, he has his own furniture, and this will enhance the whole learning process.
I feel really excited. It was a great challenge for us at PSS, and I think now at the new school we'll perform better.
There were several reasons for the smiles on the faces of the students we spoke with, but one thing was certain. Beginning classes in this new facility was a major source of pride and joy for these young ones.
I'm happy because every day I have to walk up to go by PSS. So now I happy because I just did, so I can just come to school.
I feel good because every time I used to have to be walking to go right up Grange, and now my school, the time I take around 5 steps, I'm in my school already.
I feel good because it's been a long time our school was mashed up.
Parents like Trifina Langley believe that the opening of this new facility will transform the lives of their children.
I am indeed excited that the stress of walking up every day to PSS, it is now over, that my children have their own school. I am happy.
I'm feeling good because I can walk to PSS every afternoon. Bring him to school at 1 and go for him at 5. Well, I used to be tired. And from work, I have to go up to get him by school. Well, I'm glad.
I'm so happy to see that our Prime Minister built a new school for us. I appreciate that.
While we were on shift at the secondary school, the children were doing fairly good. So now that we have our own school, having all our normal hours, I think we will do much, much better.
The opening of this facility in the northern town is a major achievement by the current administration. But it is important to note that this is not the only contribution to the children of that part of the island.
We have given $500,000 to the Portsmouth Catholic St. John's School because that school was also damaged by the earthquake of 2004. And now we are undertaking the new administrative block at the Portsmouth Secondary School. We've also put on a new basketball court for the Portsmouth Secondary School students.
The developments in Portsmouth extend beyond the walls of educational facilities and increasing opportunities for children. The construction of the multi-purpose parking house at the Longhouse Port is an example of efforts by the administration to look out for the livelihoods of the island's farmers.
Farmers can bring their produce, almost like the sort of depot type system that existed in the late 1960s, early 1970s. Farmers can bring their produce into the multipurpose parking house at the Longhouse Wharf, where it can be washed, weighed, sorted and packaged for the foreign markets of Anguilla, St. Martin, Antigua and Guadeloupe, because you know we have a thriving huckstering trade that has been established at the Longhouse Wharf, where every Monday evening we have the better part of 5, 6, 7 vessels which leave our shores with all the produce that the farmers can actually plant and produce for the neighboring islands.
The yachting industry has grown by leaps and bounds in the northern town. Tourism officials are recording increasing number of calls by yachts, especially in the Prince Rupert's Bay.
We in Portsmouth have always said that the yachting sector have really been underestimated, and we have really not taken the yachting sector seriously in our whole tourism product. We've always really concentrated on our stayover arrivals, maybe through our air access and also through our cruise ship arrivals. But really the yachting sector has almost like remained an underground economy that we have not paid attention to. So I'm really happy that we are focusing on it now.
On average, between 70 to 80 yachts are anchored in the waters of the Prince Rupert's Bay. This has yielded major economic benefits for that community.
A lot of restaurants and nightclubs and a lot of various services have been established to service the whole yachting sector. And you will be surprised, Mervin, that on average these yachts spend 5 to 7 days in our waters, spending on average $200 to $300 US a day in terms of the dining, in terms of the services, because you have bakeries in Portsmouth that provide fresh bread for the yachties in the morning. They go on tours throughout the day, throughout the different scenic spots in Dominica. And then even in the night time, the dinghies and the small rubber boats, they come on shore to dine in our restaurants like Purple Turtle, Blue Bay, Big Papa's, Portsmouth Beach Hotel, you know. So we really have almost like a silent economy that we have been able to maintain in Portsmouth.
The ability of this industry to make or break the finances of the town has been recognized by groups like the Portsmouth Indian River Tour Guides Association. They have taken positive action to ensure its protection. An association has been created to ensure that the yacht owners are protected during their stay on island.
Night after night, you go out there and you police the waters, and you have actually been able to create employment, I think, for 2 security persons who go out there every night, I believe from 6 to 6, with their small flashlights, and you supply them with fuel, and you actually pay for those persons to be out there, and that has greatly enhanced the security and confidence of the yachties who anchor in our harbour. Because
tourism officials have also adopted the idea that first impressions are lasting ones. With the help of the European Union, they have been providing reception facilities at tourism sites with much needed facelifts. Among them, the Indian River Reception Center in Portsmouth.
This facility has actually been split up in 2 separate phases. Phase 1, which is part of the new restaurant, new restrooms, new craft area, which is what we're doing directly behind us. And the new administration section, which is the 2-story section, which incorporates conference space, office space, additional restrooms.
Another area of focus in recent times has been the restoration of the Cabrits National Park. A $1 million project is ongoing, spearheaded by local historian Dr. Lennox Honeychurch with funding from government. A clear demonstration of government's commitment to the development of the island's tourism industry, including the impact of the sector in the north.
We want to look at all the different sites in and around the north. We're talking about the Shodwa Pool, we're talking about the Milton Falls, the Indian River, the Cabrits, the Col Soufriere at the back of Penville, the O2 Park and the facility that the Ecotourism Development Program has established in Vacas. We have some other sites and facilities in Penville. Throughout the north, there are so many sites that we want to continue to develop.
Meantime, the Portsmouth MP is satisfied with ongoing developments within his constituency.
If people really sit down and consider where we were 10, 15 years ago and where we are right now, they will see that representation has been given. Albeit that people feel that the representation have not been given in as timely a manner as they would like to. But literally 7 years ago, in 2002, 2003, we came out of an austerity program where the country literally was grinding to a halt. And it is because of the ingenious of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and the tenacity of the members of cabinet, we were able to turn the economy around. So now we can see the kind of infrastructural development that we are experiencing in the Portsmouth constituency. And I think by and large, we have given adequate representation. I've been there. I mean, I cannot be in a government and agitate publicly to embarrass the government for doing things in Portsmouth. I have to work with the government, work with the Honorable Prime Minister, be patient, because Rome wasn't built in a day, but Rome was built anyway. And I think by and large, that when all factors are considered, the people of Portsmouth will say that proper representation have been given.
It is important to note that these major developments in the northern town, initiated by the Roosevelt Skerrit administration, are taking place at a time when countries across the globe are battling major financial challenges. Despite the global occurrences, the administration remains steadfast in its efforts to improve the living conditions of Dominican nationals.